College. We are one of the Next Genius partner institutions. And I've been at Muhlenberg for 2 years, but I've been in higher education for 16 years. And I also spent some of that time working as a college counselor. So I've worked really closely with students who are preparing their Common applications. And I hope that I can give you some helpful information now. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully that I can find, here we go. Sorry, I want to get us to Common Application. So that's what we're here to talk about today, right? Common Application. So what we're going to go over is just some tips about how to use the Common Application website and how to actually create your account. This is a very important first step for you as you're getting ready to complete your application. And you're going to hear from a lot of my colleagues in later sessions that explain a lot of the specific information you need to know to fill out your application. But you can't do any of that until you create your account. So before I go into creating an account, I just want to introduce you all to CommonApp. And I am going to actually take this, see if I can drop this into the chat a little bit later on. I'll drop into the chat the CommonApp home site so that you can have that handy to go ahead and create your account. But this website is a wealth of information for you. So even before you start working on your account, you should really take some time to look at this homepage and look at all the information that's here for you to be helpful as you start your application process. You can actually use this search function and filter to search for different kinds of schools that you might be interested in. There is information here about different initiatives that Common Application is involved with. There is information about financial aid and how to apply for financial aid at different schools. And then there's a full guide that will actually guide you through the entire application process. There are helpful blogs. There's so much information here that you really have more than you would ever need to know about how to complete your Common Application just on this site alone. So I hope that you'll take some time to really get to know some of that information and find out what's helpful for you. So, but for now, we're going to focus on creating your Common App account. And what we're going to do, or you will do when it's time for you to do this, is simply click in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, create an account. Simple, right? Now, as students, you would all choose first-year student as your option. But because I'm just creating a test account for us this morning, and I am an educational professional, I'm going to choose that. But don't choose that when you're setting up your own account. So this is just letting me know that it's allowing me to set up a practice account since I'm an educator, and I'm confirming that that is just fine. So even though this is a test account, it's still asking for the same kind of information it's going to ask you when you're setting up your account. So it's going to ask me for my email, and I am going to fill that in here. A quick word of caution or encouragement: when you are setting up your Common App account, make sure you're using an email address that you're going to be checking regularly, because this is the email address that is going to be on file on your Common Application. So it's possible that you're going to get updates from Common App. It's possible that you're going to get updates from the schools you add to your Common App account. So if you have multiple email addresses, and I know some students do, make sure that you remember this email address and that you are going to be checking it regularly. And then you're going to set up a password. So since I am just setting up a test account, I'm going to let it suggest a password for me. However, another little bit of advice for you, a little tip. The same way you need to remember your email address, make sure you write down this password. And I know that it seems obvious that you know, you're going to choose a password that you know, and a lot of computers will auto-save passwords, and that is very handy. I think that has spoiled us a little bit in that we don't always then remember the passwords that we've selected. But I've worked with so many students over the years who had created their Common App account and then, you know, didn't have access to their laptop, couldn't remember their password, and had to go back and reset the password. Now, that's not a big issue, but it does take up time, especially when you are meeting with your college counselor or you're really trying to get your application submitted later on. So email, password, put those in a place that you're going to remember and have easy access to them. Phone number is going to be helpful. You know, it's just another way for Common App to identify you, and you know, could be useful as a search later on. Ooh, do I have to put my birthday? How about if I make up one? There we go. So birthday, again, that's another way for Common Application to identify your account. It's possible that there could be multiple students with the same names or similar email addresses, and if you needed to access your account later on and you couldn't access your email or your password, this would be another way for them to identify you. You can add your address. So I'm going to add my Muhlenberg College address. And it does not like my address. Why not? There we go. Okay. Okay. It's also going to ask some questions about, you know, where you live. And then this next section is really important. So you're choosing what year, what admission cycle you're applying for. So I'm assuming that you are all rising seniors and that you would be applying for college in 2020 or 2021. Then what you need to make sure that you do is just give a quick read through these two questions and make sure that you agree. You can see that they are already auto-checked, but basically it's saying that you're giving the Common Application to share your contact information with the colleges you're going to include on your list. That's really important, right? Because the schools need to have access to your information if you are going to be applying there. And then the second allows Common Application to communicate with you either through email or text to update you on information that will be important to your application submission. So my advice to you is leave both of these checked because they will be very important and helpful to you in the process. And then you're going to agree to those terms and create your account. Voila, simple, right? There we go. So this is your Common Application dashboard. And this, even though it doesn't look that interesting right now, is going to become an important tool for you as you are keeping track of your applications. Because what happens is, as you add schools to your Common App account, and we'll do that in just a second, your dashboard is going to help you keep track of which schools you've added to your account, the status of that application. It will remind you of deadlines. It will let you know if there are supplemental forms that you need to complete for that specific school. So your dashboard helps keep you organized, and it is something that you need to make sure you're looking at frequently so that you know where you are in this process. So let's add a few schools just so you can see what that looks like. And one thing that I would say is when you're adding schools to your Common Application account, I think it's a good idea to add schools as soon as you create your account. You don't have to have your finalized list of schools that you're applying to, because you can change this list. You can go in anytime and add schools. You can delete schools if you've changed your mind. But the benefit to adding them once you've created your account is that your dashboard is going to give you a lot of information about those schools. And you're going to be able to see which of those schools has a supplemental essay or other requirements that you need to complete. It's going to help you track deadlines. And again, it's just a good way for you to really stay organized. And it will also help you do some research on those schools. So let's go into My Colleges. And this is saying that, of course, before you can apply, you have to add schools. That makes a lot of sense to me. So let's go to College Search. And let's add Muhlenberg. And you can see that as I typed the name of Muhlenberg, it populated the name down below here. So I'm going to click on this to add Muhlenberg College to my dashboard. Make sure it doesn't have a save, okay. And then when I go back here, there's Muhlenberg College. And I can click here on more details. And this is where the dashboard becomes really helpful. So it's showing here that for Muhlenberg College, my Common Application is in progress. And that means that I've created my account, and maybe I've done a third of the application, maybe I've done all of it, but it's not submitted. So it's in progress until you've completed and submitted. Muhlenberg does not have a supplemental essay, but we do have some questions that are college-specific questions that we ask students to respond to. Those are also in progress. And then there are some other steps that you will hear about in other presentations that will address your letters of recommendation and the FERPA. And the FERPA is, that is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. And that will be explained in a later presentation, but those are all parts of your application. So this is going to just show you some helpful information about Muhlenberg. Let's go in and add another school, just so we can maybe see how that will look when we have more than one school going. So I think you've already heard from Beloit College. Let's add Beloit to our list. And if I return to the dashboard, now I've got two schools. And I can do the same with Beloit to see that this application shows in progress. And like Muhlenberg, Beloit does not require a writing supplement. They do have additional questions, and those are questions that you can look at once you begin your Common Application. So if I just go back here, let me just do this, minimize this. Okay, so the other great thing about having schools added to your dashboard is that if you think, maybe I want to do a little bit more research on Beloit. I'm not sure that I know enough about that school to be certain that I want to apply. So if you click on the school's name, you will get some really helpful information, including application deadlines here. Okay, and application fees, standardized test policies. So this is really going to show you some of the most important information you need to know as you're applying to this institution. It will also give you links to the college website, to their virtual tour, an email address to the admissions office, and their social media links. So again, right in just the Common Application site, you've got access to a lot of different information about the institutions you want to apply to. And you can also see on the right here that for every step in Common Application, you've got a help function. So if you are uncertain about how to complete a certain portion of the application, there are videos, there are help functions in Common Application that can really guide you through that process. Let's see, what else do I want to tell you about the Common App and creating your account? As I mentioned, even though you've added schools here, you can change your dashboard at any time. You can delete schools if you've changed your mind about applying. This will give you a list of colleges in a different space. And then this takes you directly into your Common Application. And I'm not going to go over that because I know you're going to have a session on that later. Here's that great search function that I had told you about. So if you wanted to search on a school and you weren't sure yet if you wanted to add that school to your Common App, you could do a search and you could look at Ithaca College, get some information about Ithaca, and then decide, yeah, I think I want to apply there. I'm going to add it to my account. So now on your dashboard, you've got 3 schools. And then the other really helpful tab here off of your dashboard is information about your financial aid and how to apply for financial aid in general. It is really important to be sure that you follow up with each individual school because we all have different financial aid processes. So don't just rely 100% on this financial aid resource. Make sure you follow up with your individual schools so that you know deadlines, forms that are required, what kind of aid is offered to international students, whether that's need-based, merit-based. Those are really important bits of info, not bits, but really important pieces of information that you want to be sure you follow up on. So once you have created your dashboard, you are ready to go with your Common App account. This might have been explained in a previous presentation, but the Common App is open now. So the new application cycle for this upcoming year opened on August 1st. So it is active now. If you haven't already created your account, this weekend is a great time to do that. I would really encourage you to get started on your application. It's something that you don't have to complete in one sitting. You can save your information and go back to it multiple times. And that's really beneficial because even though a lot of the information in the application is straightforward, sometimes it will take a bit of time to collect the information, to get yourself organized, and you might find that it's easier to complete your application in different sections. So starting your account now gives you time to familiarize yourself with the kinds of information it's going to ask. It's going to let you take a look at the essay prompts and maybe start working on your personal essay. But there are a lot of different things that you need to think about when you're completing this application, and you want to take your time, you want to do it well. So the sooner you create your account, the more time you have to devote to that and to ensuring that you have fully completed your application that you're giving us the most information you can about yourself, and also that you've proofread, and that's really important. You would be surprised how many students misspell their own names on the application because maybe they're just, rushing through or not proofreading. And once you've submitted your Common application, you can't change anything on it. So you want to make sure that you have spelled everything correctly, that you have accurately and fully represented both your academic history and your extracurricular activities. So there's a lot that follows creating this account. And you just want to give yourself the time to do this well. You've spent many, many years in your education leading up to this time. And this is a big deal. So don't rush through it. Take your time, be well prepared. And I think you're going to find that the process isn't quite as bad when you're organized and you have allowed yourself the time to do it well. So with that, I'm sure we probably have some questions, and then I'd also like to just maybe spend a couple minutes telling you more about Muhlenberg College. And I'm going to turn to Devika because I'm not sure, should we take some questions first?
I think you can talk about Muhlenberg and then we can take the questions as we still have the questions pouring in.
Okay, all right, perfect. So let me do this. There we go. Okay, so this will give you just really a quick glimpse of Muhlenberg College. There's a lot to tell, but if I'll just condense into a few minutes. So Muhlenberg is a small liberal arts college, and you've probably heard of the term liberal arts already. Sorry, it's a tongue tie for me this morning. But that basically means that the education our students receive is both has depth and breadth. So you are able to study a lot of different disciplines and not just focus very narrowly on one particular major. And you're also able to go really deep within those disciplines so that you really get a full understanding of the areas of study and how they're interconnected. So as a liberal arts institution, Muhlenberg has 38 different majors, 35 minors. Our top majors are theater and dance, business, neuroscience, psychology, and biology. So you can see whether you're interested in the arts or the sciences, there are great opportunities for students at Muhlenberg. We are a small college, as I mentioned. We have about 2,100 students coming from over 36 different states. This is information from last year, so it's not quite updated yet, but in 19 different countries. So we're a diverse community of students and educators. And we're also a residential school. So all of our students live on campus for all 4 years, and it's a full learning and living experience. So you come there to study and to prepare yourself for a successful career, but you also come there to have a full experience and to get involved in different activities, in different organizations and clubs that interest you. You come there to conduct research, to have internship programs, to elevate your learning. So it's not just about what you're doing in the classroom, it's also about how you take that theory you're learning in the class and put it to practical applications. And that is really important to us. We really stress the importance of experiential learning. We don't want you to just be sitting at a desk learning from a professor, taking notes, hearing a lecture. You're active in the learning process, and you've got a lot of freedom to decide what that process is going to look like for you. So those are some really important things to consider as you're thinking about what kind of institution might be a good fit for you as you are pursuing your college career. The other thing that is important to know about Muhlenberg is where we're located. Some of you might have traveled to the US, some of you maybe haven't been to the US yet, but we are located in the state of Pennsylvania, which is in the northeast region of the country. And we are in Allentown, which is the third largest city in Pennsylvania. And it's also in the fastest growing economic region in the country. There's a lot happening in this region, and it's a really exciting place for students who want to, again, get some real world experience during their college career. Allentown is an urban city, so there's a lot to do in Allentown, but we're also about an hour and a half from New York City and 1 hour from Philadelphia. So our students can take those opportunities as well to explore 2 major US cities. And there's easy transportation, public transportation to both of those cities. And there's just really a lot happening within that region. So I think it provides students a wonderful opportunity, not just to have a full college experience, but also as young professionals to get some great jobs, to network with professionals. Our Career Center at Muhlenberg does a lot with students to get them out into different companies, different industries, so that you can experience what it would be like to work in that field, and you can network with professionals, many of whom are Muhlenberg alums, and really get a sense of, you know, what is your next step after college. And the other thing that I should point out as I'm talking about next steps on this slide is that 90% of our students are either employed or going to grad school within 1 year of their Muhlenberg graduation. So that is a success rate that we are very proud of. And there's a lot of support at the college to ensure that our students are having some really amazing opportunities. One of the fun facts from this slide, it might not be the most important thing to you right now, but trust me, as a college student, it will be important. Muhlenberg is consistently voted in the top 20 in the US for best campus food. And we're actually #1 in the state of Pennsylvania. And again, maybe not the most important thing to you right now, but as a college student, you're gonna need to nourish your brain, so you're gonna need to eat well. And our food on our campus is just amazing. So to all the parents out there, you can be assured that if your child comes to Muhlenberg, they're going to eat really well during their 4 years there, and really have a great experience in a community of people that is really caring. We're a college that focuses on kindness and civility and taking care of each other. I know all of our international students really well. I care about them. I stay connected with them throughout their 4 years at Muhlenberg. Our professors are accessible to their students. We're not the kind of institution where students never speak with their professors, never really get to know them beyond that classroom experience. So it's a very nurturing environment, and it's also an environment that we have high expectations for our students, but we also provide a lot of support for them to go on and be successful. So that is a little bit about Muhlenberg, and I hope that we'll get other opportunities to discuss the opportunities there, and for me to hear some of your questions and know how you might be a good fit for our school. But with that, I'm going